Hello traders, welcome to Apex FX. It's Alan right here again, and as usual I'm super excited to have you here. So we're going to have a look at the market and what to expect for the new week. But if you are new to this channel, click on the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you won't miss subsequent videos. Now if you've done that, let's head straight into the charts. So last week was a bit quiet, and we had to sit back most of the days in the week, especially Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, especially on EU. EU was ranging all through the week, and I didn't pay so much attention to GU last week, although there were some moves on GU which I missed out on. So it was a pretty slow week for me, and I'm expecting this week to be different from last week. So quickly, let's start with DXY to see what's still going on the dollar. So basically the dollar is still strong. This is the monthly time frame. It's still heavily bullish, but that zone that we marked up about 2 weeks ago, that supply zone, is still holding very well. So price is still within that supply zone. It's yet to break out of it. So let's slide lower to see what's really going on there. So on the monthly time frame, if you see here, dollar pushed up, tapped into that zone, then we experience a little retracement, then a rejection from this place where I have this horizontal line drawn. But there's something to note there. Even once you switch back to your line chart, you would notice that that top there is actually a key zone. It is a resistance turned support. Now I marked it from the weekly time frame because I could see this hidden supply there. There was a hidden supply, so I marked it up expecting price to come back into it, and that hidden supply also aligned with this support turn, this resistance turned support. Now what do we see here? The moment price came back into that area, we experienced a massive rejection from that point. So let's slide it lower to see it clearly what really happened there. Okay, so this is that zone marked up here. Price tapped into it and we experienced this massive bullish engulfing candle that played out. That should be Friday, no, that should be around Monday there, Tuesday, Wednesday, thereabouts, about Tuesday, Wednesday last week. We had this massive candle that pushed the market higher. I think that was due to CPI or so. So after that happened, market has been ranging since then. We had 1-2 days of complete range. The market was just consolidating at this particular point, but there's something to note here on the daily time frame if we look in very carefully. So we see price tapped into an area of value here, but before then we have this daily supply that was formed here. Price came back, tapped into this daily supply. Let's change the color. Yes, so price tapped into this daily supply and we've been experiencing some form of consolidation in that zone. Okay, so moving this to the 4 hours time frame, what do we want to see on DXY? So remember last week I talked about this head and shoulders pattern that formed from this zone where price tapped into. So upon the formation of the head and shoulders, we had a breakout. I'm taking this as a retest of that zone. Then possibly we may see a push back to the downside a bit before a continuation to the upside, or we break out of this range, retest and continue to the upside. That's what I'm going to be expecting on the dollar. But let's also remember that we still have these other zones marked up from the weekly time frame. So even if the market decides to drop this low, I can still expect a push from here, or if it drops this low, I can still expect another push from that zone. So until this high, this low here is invalidated, that is when my bias is going to be changing from bullish to bearish on the US dollar. But for now, US dollar is still looking very bullish, but I want to see a breakout of this supply. I want to see a breakout of it, or basically let's retrace back to this zone. If I see a nice retracement and some bullish signals, I can take a buy, but my buy is going to stop at this high. That's where I'm going to stop until I see a clear breakout of this zone to the upside. That's when I'll know that we are ready to move back upwards. And let's not forget this higher time frame supply that is here. This higher time frame supply, which is also our daily high, is still very important. Let's take note of it. We want to see this daily high taken, then we can expect higher prices on the dollar. All right, so let's move to Euro USD quickly. Euro USD is playing exactly like dollar but in the opposite direction. So we had this demand that we marked out from the monthly time frame, and price has been rejecting at that point. So far the month is still looking like an indecision, although we still have about barely 2 weeks to go, so we can't really conclude yet on the month. So coming to the weekly time frame, last week we had a push to the upside, but basically the candle closed bearish at the end of the week, but it was after a tap into a key level here. Now if we look here, I think we broke this structure. Let's try to mark this last low. Yeah, this last low was broken by this bullish candle here. We broke the structure. Now upon the break of that structure, we've seen a retracement back into this supply that was formed at the top here, this extreme supply. Now upon the tap into that extreme supply, we've seen some rejections from that point. So let's slide lower to get this clearly, what is really going on there. Okay, so this is it on the daily time frame. Now if you remember last week, we talked about this zone being a key zone and we put up our Fibonacci level. We can see that it aligns with our 0.62 Fibonacci level as well, and we have a major supply there. So price tapped into that supply and rejected heavily from that point. Rejected, but the next 2 days or 3 there, about 2 days, ended up as a consolidation. So just like the dollar but in the opposite way, what I'll be expecting, I've marked up this daily supply here, waiting for price to push back upwards, possibly into this supply, then we can see a sell to the downside. But let's break it down on the 4 hours time frame if there's anything different there. Okay, so I have some markups here on my 4 hours time frame. If you look here on the 4 hours time frame, we have this hidden supply that's marked up here. Price has actually tapped into it. Now we can experience some lower time frame rejections. So if this supply holds, we can just from that point sell down to the push down to the downside to take out this daily low, or we can still break above it, take the liquidity resting above there, tap into this zone, mitigate this daily supply, also fill up this imbalance that we have resting here. We have an imbalance here. Let's mark it out. So from here to this point is where the imbalance exists, so we can still push up, fill up that imbalance, and once we see some sell signal from there, we can sell to take out this daily low here. Can sell to take out this daily low there, or whatever happens, just watch out and see how the market reacts, and we are going to be reacting based on what we see. Okay, so let's move to GBP USD quickly. So on GBP USD, this is an extreme supply we have here marked up from the weekly time frame as well. That extreme supply has been holding, but not too well, because GBP USD had been pushing down all through last week, in as much as DXY was going the other way, but it was going the other way, but GBP USD did not really play along last week. It was pushing down heavily. So let's look at it carefully here on the weekly time frame. So we have this weekly demand zone that was marked out. You can see that market pushed up, tapped into this supply that was created. This was a supply that was created before the break of structure. Now price tapped into it, and we can see that last week closed as a bearish engulfing candle that's engulfed this bullish candle. So this signifies bearish pressure in the market. The market is still heavily bearish. Now pushing this to the daily time frame, you will see it much more clearly. Now this is that zone marked up. As at last week, we were expecting price to come for this zone here, but unfortunately price didn't come back there, and as you know, we react based on what we see, not what we expect. So now price mitigated this zone, and we saw a massive push to the downside. This was the same push that occurred due to that news, but in this case market continued to push lower. Now we have taken liquidity below this last low that was created here. So liquidity has clearly been taken from this low here, but on the daily time frame, we failed to close below it with a body. So I'll be very careful. I want to see a body close below that low before I know that a break of structure has occurred. So looking at it here on the 4 hours time frame, if you look at this very carefully, we have these zones clearly marked up. This was where our flip happened. We had this hidden supply here, price pushback, mitigated it, broke structure again, After breaking structure, you can take note of this point as well, the whole of this, because that is the move that actually broke structure. That's the move that led to the break of structure. So we can hold on to it, expecting price to push back into that zone. So I'll just be watching out for price to come back, mitigate this zone. Maybe we see push back into this, we push into this zone, then I can expect a sell to the downside to take out this H4 low and possibly lower prices. So where can we anticipate price to go to here on GBP USD? I think I noted an area earlier. Let's see. Okay, so if this bearish momentum continues, we can expect price to come as low as 1.07500. Price can push as low as 1.07500. So basically, this is what I'll be looking out for this week on GBP USD as well. A retracement back into this zone, then a sell continuation to the downside. That does not mean price cannot push higher into any of these zones, but this is the point of the break. Let's take this off. So this is the candle that caused the break of structure. So I'll be expecting this to hold first, but if for any reason price pushes back into these extremes, as long as this H4i remains intact, then I'll still be ready to go short on GBP USD. I'm ready to take some nice sell opportunities once price comes into the whole of this zone. Okay, so let's move to gold. So gold has been looking very nice all through the week, all through last week. Gold was quite nice. Now remember this zone we marked up that price has been reacting off for the past few months. It has been a major zone that has been holding price for quite a long time now. On the daily time frame, we are beginning to pierce below that zone. Even if we see here on the monthly time frame, we are still looking as if we are ready to break that zone. So let's move to the weekly time frame to see it clearly. So this is the weekly time frame. Gold, we can see price came into that level. We had an indecision previously, then now we can see that price has broken below that indecision candle and wicked below this low. Now for now, this can be a liquidity grab. I want to see a clean close of a weekly candle below this zone. Once I see this week's candle close below this zone, then we can expect price to come as low as 1623 level. Price can push as low as 1623 level because that is where our next demand zone is. So let's push it down to daily time frame for clarity. Okay, so on the daily time frame, this is the structure. The order flow is still heavily bearish, so we'll continue with it. We pushed, mitigated, pushed again, mitigated, and now we had a new break of structure. We broke this 4 hours low and this daily low that was created here. So upon the break of this low, where is the move that broke the structure? This is it here, this supply zone. So I'll be holding, I've marked up this supply zone, expecting price to come back into this supply zone. Then maybe we can expect price to push down from that point. Let's see it on the 4 hours time frame. There's something to note here. Okay, now this is the daily supply zone that I marked. Having marked up this daily supply zone, but coming to the 4 hour zone, we have this little zone marked up here as well. This is the move that caused the break on the 4 hours time frame, so price can just tap into it and react from there. But if you look at previous price action, you will see that gold has been experiencing a lot of inducement. There have been a lot of inducement on gold, so maybe we can see it tap into this level, push, then tap back into this one, then maybe a sell to the downside. And if this doesn't happen, even if we just tap into this zone and I see a good sell signal, I can look for a sell to the downside. So that's two possibilities, but basically this is our daily time frame. This is the daily time frame key zone, so there is high possibility that this is going to hold better than this 4 hours time frame. But just keep an eye on both of them and watch how price reacts off these zones. So the gold remains bearish so far. Now it remains bearish as long as this H4 high remains intact. The moment this high is broken, I'm going to sit for a while and see what market does, because on the higher time frame we are yet to break below this demand zone. Price have only wicked below it. I want to see a weekly break of structure below this zone before I would know that that area has been broken and we can expect lower prices. So let's just follow the order flow basically and see what the market gives us through the week. So let's move to US oil. That's been another sweet trade happening there. Now, one good thing to note about US oil is that for the past few weeks now, in fact almost 2 months thereabouts, I've been bearish on US oil, and it's been really wonderful. You can see US oil pushing to the downside as expected, mitigating the zones that we have marked up, and it just keeps moving nicely. So let's see US oil on the okay, this is the monthly time frame. We have this demand zone marked up here. Price is yet to tap into it, but in as much as price has not come there, this is a zone to also take note of. This was a previous resistance that is now acting as a supply, and the month has rejected from that point already. So be cautious of that zone. Can it lead to a push to the upside since the overall trend is still bullish? Well, we don't know yet. We're going to watch the market to see what it gives us. So having that zone marked out, this is the weekly time frame. We can see that the market is still bearish. It's still looking very bearish, but let me just keep this here so that let's mark up this resistance turn support. Yes, perfect. So right on this resistance turn support, last week closed as an indecision, and the previous week as well as an indecision. So we can't really say much from this time frame. Let's slide lower to see the lower time frame structures. Okay, so this is the daily time frame US oil. So basically here on the daily time frame, the market is still bearish. We still have our daily high here and our daily low here. So this was the move that caused the break of structure here. This supply here caused the break of structure. Now market has pushed back into that zone, and we have seen a bearish engulfing candle that has formed there. Friday closed as an indecision though. So let's break it down to the 4 hours time frame. But before then, with this engulfing candle that has formed here, it is likely that price is going to head lower. And if price goes lower, what can we expect? Where can we expect price to come to? Okay, so we can target let's say we can target 76 level first as our first TP. We can target 76 level, then as low as 64 level if price continues to push down, but first I'll be looking towards 76 level if price continues to push downwards. So going back to the 4 hours time frame, so this is the market structure here. We can see market push back into this zone, and we had a nice break of structure here. Yeah, this structure has been broken. Let's confirm it. Let's see. Yeah, perfect. It has been broken there. Although this break of structure is quite weak, it is not the best kind of break of structure. So I have this supply zone marked up here, so we can just see price push back into this supply zone, then maybe a sell continuation to the downside. So basically I just want to see how market reacts off this zone that I have marked it. Then we can expect lower prices on US oil. So that's going to be it for today. We're going to see how the week the market develops through the week, and if there's any need for an update, I'm going to be posting it here on my channel. So until we see again, good luck and good trading.